Hey guys, how's it going? AGP here from Market Like a Nerd. And all this week in our Facebook group, Market Like a Nerd Facebook group, we are talking about piggyback traffic and how you can tap into other people's traffic streams that they've already built up, their listeners, their readers, their viewers, and use them as your own if you don't have traffic yet, or even if you do, it's just a really good traffic stream. So what I'm going to do in just a moment is I'm going to share my screen and bring up a list of different piggyback traffic options, and that way you can have a bunch of ideas to utilize in your business and know what those options are so that you can determine which the best ones are for your specific business. If you missed it yesterday in the Facebook group, I already talked about what piggyback traffic was, and we went through all of the different traffic options that you have: SEO, social media marketing, Facebook, or just paid advertising, and piggyback, and talked about who should be doing each of those different types of traffic, what the pros and cons are of each. And so now today we're going to dive in and really target, focus in on just piggyback traffic and what those options are within that category. So let me bring my screen up. Let's make sure you guys can see it. Okay, perfect. So up here on my screen, you'll see a little image that I created with a chart that outlines a variety of different piggyback traffic options and what the version of that would be for local businesses versus virtual, national, international businesses. We talked a little bit about this yesterday, that local businesses are a little bit different in terms of what makes sense for them traffic-wise because they're targeting a very specific local niche. Virtual, national, international businesses, we can get away with a little bit more. We have more options available to us because typically our client is a little bit broader. So there's more traffic streams that we're capable of tapping into, and what makes sense for us is different than what's going to make sense for a local business. And this is really important in this time right now during quarantine, when there's a lot of local businesses that are starting to now adapt to the virtual world and start targeting a different type of client. So if you're one of those businesses that used to be local, that used to have local clients, and now you can't tap into those clients, now you can't be operating your business and you need to be opening up to a more national or international clientele, this will help you kind of see how your marketing should be adapting as well, should be pivoting as well during this time, okay? So if you see here up on this chart, a couple of these options are probably things that you might have already thought of when it comes to piggyback traffic. So typically in publicity, some of the things that people are traditionally thinking of are radio, TV, magazine, newspapers. That traditional publicity is really best in these day and times. It's mainly for local businesses who are serving local clients. You know, if you are a local business and there are local radio shows, local TV stations in your area, okay, that's fine. That's okay for you. For a virtual business, a national, international business, that doesn't make quite as much sense because the reach is so much smaller. It's so much more niched. It's typically not going to make sense, whereas a podcast would make a little bit more sense for a virtual, national, international business, because podcast audiences are virtual and you can reach people all around the world using that podcast platform. So for a virtual, national, international business, if you're going to use piggyback traffic, you have the option of using podcasting. But as a local business, you probably want to go for more local radio, local TV shows, because there's not really that many podcasts that are locally targeted. You know, if someone's going to do a podcast, they're probably trying to target a very wide audience, a much broader audience. So it's not going to make sense for a local business. So that's kind of the different options there when it comes to audio traffic underneath of the piggyback traffic category. Now, let's say you're not one for interviews and you really like to write, or maybe you do an interview and you want to get it transcribed and then use that material in order to get even more publicity. What you could do is you could go, if you're a virtual national international business, you could get that transcribed into an article and go pitch an online blog that has guest blogs or guest bloggers, and get that transcribed version of your interview turned into a guest blog. And so now you went from being able to target listeners from a podcast to being able to target readers from a blog, and you're using the same exact content. All you had to do was get it transcribed. So that's a really simple way to maximize the impact of one piece of publicity. Now, the thing with local businesses is, again, kind of like with podcasting, guest blogging is not going to make very much sense, because usually if someone is doing a guest blogging platform, they're trying to have a broad audience. And if you're a local business, you're serving local clients, so you're not going to be getting the clientele that you're looking for there. But local magazines will often accept articles from local businesses. So you could still get those local radio, TV shows transcribed, turn it into an article, and then pitch it to a local magazine. So it's the same concept, but it's just going to be applied a little bit different here, depending upon what type of business you are, virtual or local. Now, another option that you have here is, instead of having you write the article, you could have someone write the article about you, to feature you, to mention you in their article or on their platform. So there's a lot of platforms that run online magazines or online blogs, but they're the ones who are actually writing the content rather than having guest bloggers write their content for them. So if you see articles on Fast Company, Inc., Forbes, platforms like that, and they're featuring the story of other businesses, that's a featured article. Sometimes they'll just mention them, and that's a featured mention. And so that's another type of publicity that you can tap into as a virtual national international business. The idea can also be adapted locally, but it's typically going to make sense with local newspapers. Typically, local newspapers will want to be featuring stories from local businesses, local successes in the area. So again, all of these different forms of piggyback traffic are going to make sense no matter what type of business you are. You're just going to have to adapt it to make sense for your niche. Now, those are the types of publicity or piggyback traffic that people are usually, thinking of when they initially dive into this, because those are some of the more popular ones. Hey, Georgina. Some of the ones that people don't often think about that are forms of piggyback traffic would be like promo swaps. So promo swaps is where, and actually let me talk about the local business version of this first, because then we can adapt it to the virtual national international side. Local businesses will do this a lot. They'll do promo swaps, but it's normally in the form of like signage swaps. Like, hey, I've got this storefront. I'll put a sign for your business on my window or at my register if you're a local business and you put one of my signs on your window or at your register. Local businesses do that all the time. They try to support each other and they sign swap, right? Virtual businesses can do that too. We don't think about it that often. We don't do it that often. Some of the bigger players will do things like that. Some of them might even charge for it. But that is 100% something that you can do. And you can go and pitch this to people who have lists of your ideal clients. And you can say, hey, I'll promote you if you promote me. I'll send a promo email to my list if you send a promo email to your list. I'll post on my social media about your stuff if you post on your social media about my stuff. A lot of Instagram influencers will do this, where they'll, do an Instagram story for you if you do an Instagram story for me. I'll do an Instagram mention for you if you do an Instagram mention for me. Some Instagram influencers won't do a swap, but they'll charge you for it, so you can pay and get them to promote you to their audience, and you just have to pay a little bit depending upon the size of their audience and how many of those mentions you want. And that's something that is very worth it. Whether or not it's a swap or you're paying for it, that's still something that personally I think is very worth it. If you have a partner, another business out there who has lists or followers of your ideal clients, and they're willing to promote you, even if they're charging for it, that's super worth it, because that's extra traffic, and usually nurtured traffic that's going to have a referral source. Anytime there's a referral source, there's going to be an automatic level of trust and authority that's weaved into that promotion. It's different than Facebook ads. Facebook ads often it's cold traffic. It's usually you kind of inserting yourself into their newsfeed and like stealing their attention. There's no trust that's really put into place in that environment. But with a promo swap, or really any of these piggyback traffic options, any of them, there's a platform, a podcast host, a magazine host, a influencer who has built up this audience. The audience trusts them, and they're recommending you. So there's a level of trust that's already built in on that traffic source. So they're already a little bit more nurtured in that way. They're a little bit more of a warmer traffic lead. So yeah, I'll pay someone $50 if they're going to promote my offer to their Instagram following. Absolutely. Joyce says, yes, love the personal referral energy. Absolutely. That energy of that is so much better than, hey, let me insert myself in your newsfeed. And I love Facebook ads. I love me some Facebook ads. I love me some paid advertising, but it's a little bit harder in that it's completely cold traffic. It's completely cold traffic where there's no trust really built at all. And this is an option that's maybe a little bit slower, but there's that energy of a referral with some already built-in trust with it, okay? So the signage swaps for local businesses, promo swaps for virtual national, international businesses. Now, another thing that I've seen local businesses do is sometimes they'll do like collaborative parties, collaborative launches, collaborative events. I had this one client who had multiple yoga studios in Hawaii. Right now, obviously, her yoga studios are closed down because of COVID. But when she would launch new yoga studios, because she's a franchise, she had multiple yoga studios throughout Hawaii. When she would launch them, she would get some of the other local businesses to come to a grand opening party and contribute something, like maybe there's a massage therapist in the area. Okay, they can come and do bring a massage table for the grand opening party. Maybe there's like local musicians. Okay, they can come and they can do music at that grand opening party, and they'll bring their friends and they'll bring some of their customers and they'll promote it to their audience. And it's like a big event with a bunch of different businesses all kind of built in. Almost like a block party is another example of that, where a bunch of local businesses will get a permit, take the block, and then have stands all throughout the block, and they've got these different stands for these different businesses. That's great for local businesses. If you're able to collaborate with other businesses in the area to sort of dominate the area at one time for one event, one block party, one big collaborative thing that you guys can all push together, a rising tides lifts all boats. You're gonna lift each other up at the same time by working together. So it's great for local businesses, and the way that you can apply that if you're a virtual, national, international business is you can do collaborative events with other virtual, national, international businesses. Things like telesummits and giveaways, whether you're the host or the participant. We will typically, if someone offers us to be in their giveaway, I don't necessarily care how new or experienced they are. We will typically participate. I mean, whether we're capable of doing 1 versus 3 promos, it can vary based on our schedule. But even if you charge like $150 for a giveaway, we're typically willing to participate because we know the value of collaborating with other influencers in our industry. Even new people, even if you're a new business, if you're able to put in that effort to go and bring a bunch of other businesses together to do a collaborative list build, that's still worth it in our opinion, even if our business is further ahead than you are. So we get giveaway invitations all of the time, and we're accepting them all of the time. Same thing for telesummits. Telesummits tend to be slightly smaller list builds, but usually a little bit more nurtured list builds because you're usually doing some sort of interview. So again, as a participant, we'll get invited to telesummits, and if it fits in our promo schedule, we will typically say yes, because those collaborative list builds are very, very worth it, and again, carry that extra level of trust built into it. We'll also host our own, just like someone has to be the person to initiate the block party and the collaborative grand opening event, that type of thing. Someone has to be the person to initiate the telesummits and the giveaways. So typically we're doing 1, maybe 2 of those a year. It kind of varies. Sometimes they're telesummits, sometimes they're giveaways, but we're usually the host of some sort of collaborative thing each year. And we're actually behind the scenes right now planning one right now where we're going to be the host of, and we're going to adapt it a little bit actually. Instead of it being a telesummit or a giveaway, we're going to have a collaborative program where we're going to go out and we're going to get people to offer a module, and we're going to turn it into one big course with these different modules, and then everyone's going to promote that course with those different modules, and then they can have pitches to their offers and to their funnels. And so it's similar to a telesummit and a giveaway, but it's slightly different in that it's positioned as an actual program versus, a virtual free event. So that's something that we're working on behind the scenes, but it's the same sort of idea. It's like, how can you collaborate with other experts and influencers in your industry to come together for some big event? Another example of that would be guest expert spotlights, where someone has a Facebook group or a social media following, and they bring you in to do a Q&A with their audience. A lot of Facebook groups will do that. A lot of Facebook groups will even hold like big Q&A events, like a Facebook group summit. We were actually the first people to ever do that. We invented Facebook group summits. And so a lot of Facebook groups will do that. Well, they'll have like a Q&A series, and they'll bring other experts into their groups, and you can do a Q&A. Back when I first started this business and I was using more social media marketing and more piggyback marketing than I was Facebook ads, I would actually go join other people's Facebook groups, engage, become a top engager in the group so that the moderator, the owner of the group really, really liked me, and I was well positioned to ask them for a favor. And then what I would do is I would go and reach out to the owner of that group with a suggestion for a Q&A topic that I could do and say, hey, how would you like me to do a Q&A in your Facebook group on this topic? And if I had already stood out in the group and that's a topic that's of value to their audience without being a direct competition with them, a lot of times they'll say yes, because it's a win-win. It's a way for you to get exposure to their audience, but it's a way for them to engage their audience and give value to their audience without it directly competing with them. So it's really a win-win. A lot of group experts will be okay with that. You'll notice recently we had We had Brad Gibb in our Facebook group who talked about financial stuff related to COVID. I think we had Ashley Buffa, I never know how to say her last name, in our Facebook group recently talking about how to handle homeschooling and like your kids being home during quarantine. Yeah, my 11-year-old says hi. So we in our Facebook group, we still have guest experts coming and doing Q&A. So that's something that you can consider as well. Go and find other Facebook groups, engage, become a top engager, get to know the owner of the group, and then pitch a Q&A. Similarly, there will be experts who will have programs that they're launching, and you can pitch yourself to give a bonus in that program. And you know, this is so funny because there's some people who are like, no, I'm not going to give my stuff away in someone else's program, and I'm definitely not going to give it away for free. They can pay me for it, you know. But here's the thing, that's exposure, that's free exposure to someone else's buyers. That's very worth it. I've had clients who have come to me and said, hey, Amanda, can I have this module to include as a bonus in my program? And I'll say, yeah, absolutely, because I want exposure to your buyers. 100%. Like if your buyers are the same buyers as mine, but we're not direct competitors, it's very worth it for us to collaborate and have that energy of collaboration versus, you know, versus trying to be in our ego and say, oh no, like my stuff is worth it, so I'm gonna charge for it if you want to include it, or coming from a space of competition, oh no, you can't have my stuff because it's mine. No, my energy around collaboration is always that we are going to lift each other up together. We're actually a Facebook ads agency, right? And we're currently behind the scenes helping another Facebook ads agency design their website. We don't offer website design anymore. This is like a client who came in back when we used to offer that, because we've specialized to the point where we only do traffic and funnels. So we'll help you with your Facebook ads and PR, and we'll help you with your funnels, and that's it. But back when we did offer websites as well, we had a Facebook ad agency come to us and ask us to do their website, and we said sure. We've also had publicity agencies come to us and ask if they can, you know, get our material, if they can buy our publicity material, like our sales pages, our sales emails, and then use it as their own. I'll say, yeah, sure, because when you grow, we grow. When we lift you up, it lifts us up too. You know, think about how when that Facebook ad agency, their website is launched and they start getting clients and they can't handle those clients, who are they going to come to help manage the amount of clients that they have? They're probably going to come to us. When that publicity agency starts getting more sales of their PR using the materials that we gave them, which publicity agency are they going to come to help manage their clients? Probably us. So you always want to make sure that you are choosing collaboration over competition. It will lift you up as much as it will them. LaFay said, yep, you did that for me. Yeah, I think LaFay is one of the people, she's that client I was talking about. She has a program. She's like, hey, Amanda, can I include, I think it was maybe the PAC, the Facebook group module? And I said, yeah, sure, absolutely. I want exposure to her buyers. Because as she gets new buyers, I get in front of them, and then they'll potentially become my buyers too. It's worth it. I didn't even charge her anything. I was like, okay, here's the program you could include. Totally. Okay. Now, those are some of the options that are different from local businesses versus national businesses, so that you can see how you have to adapt it depending upon what type of business you are. If you're a virtual, national, international business, you can do podcasting. Local, you want to do local radio or TV. If you're virtual, national, international, you can do guest blogging. Local, you probably want to do local magazines. If you're virtual, national, or international, you want to do feature articles and mentions. Local, you're probably going to do local newspapers. If you're a virtual, national, international business, do some type of promo swap, or even pay other people to promote you to their audiences. Instagram influencers do that a lot. People with big mailing lists will often be willing to do that as well. On the local side, it would be more like a signage swap. I'll put my sign on my door or on my storefront if you put my sign on yours. Just like local businesses do collaborative parties, events, block parties, grand opening parties. On the virtual side, national side, you can do telesummits, giveaways, either as a host or a participant, or become a guest expert in someone else's Facebook group doing Q&As, become a guest expert in someone else's programs, and offer a bonus in their program. So those are some of the things that are different. Where PiggyBack Traffic overlaps, and it's the same for both, is both virtual, national, international, and local businesses can do affiliate launches where you have an offer and you get the other person you get a ton of different affiliates to promote it. So think like, what's her name? Marie Forleo. I don't know why I forgot that for a second. Marie Forleo, her B School launches, Kimra Luna, her Be True brand new launches. She doesn't do them anymore, but when she did, Todd Herman, 90-day year. Those are the ones off the top of my head. They're almost, Selena Sue, her Impacting Millions. Typically, when each of those launches those offers, they're using affiliates where they go out and they'll find a bunch of other people who have lists of their ideal clients, who have following of their ideal clients, and they'll say, okay, we're all going to promote this one offer at the same time. So local businesses can do that too. Virtual businesses can do that. Alternatively, you can actually co-create something and do a JV launch. So you can choose one or even multiple people that you want to create something new with. You know, you want to create actually, Kimra Luna, we did this once. So Kimra Luna and myself and Jody Sodini, we co-created the Freedom Funnels VIP days where we would do a VIP day, map out your funnel, go and build it, and then promote it to the Freedom Hackers list. Yasmin Anal and I did a co-created mastermind where it was a brand new mastermind that was a mixture of what I taught and what she taught, and we both co-promoted it. There are people who would do live events where it's co-hosted by two different businesses, and they both get to share in the list build and the sales that come as a result of it. And this is great if maybe you have, let's say maybe you're a health coach, but you don't cover fitness. You could co-create something with a fitness coach that covers both health and fitness. Let's say maybe you're a business coach, but you don't cover mindset. You could find a mindset coach and co-create something with them that covers both of those topics, and then you guys co-promote it at the same time. Same for local businesses. You can do the same exact thing. Both types of businesses can also do events, conferences, trade shows, whether that's having like a booth at them, whether that's attending them, or ideally speaking at them, speaking at events, conferences, trade shows, that type of thing. Very, very, very valuable because you are very well positioned as an authority, and they've gone, and a lot of times the host is charging for those events, those conferences, those trade shows, and so everyone who's coming are buyers. You're getting exposure to buyers in a way where you're up on stage and you're positioned as an authority. That's a really great place to be able to get some buyers, and at all type of price ranges. You know, a lot of people, they'll speak and they'll get a ton of $1,000 buyers right in the room from back of the room sales. I've done events where there's like 33 people in the room. I'm not the host. There's 10 other speakers, and I've still sold $100,000 all in high ticket sales. You know, so it's very, very valuable traffic. Sponsorships. So this is another great way to get exposure to someone else's buyers. You have to pay for it. But this is a thing, like I have a high risk tolerance and I'm very willing to invest in my business, and that's why I am where I am, because I look at things in terms of ROI. If I'm going to pay for ads, but I'm going to make money back, eventually I'm okay with that. If I'm going to pay for a promo swap, but I'm going to make money back, or even if I'm just going to break even, Or even if I'm not going to break even, I'm going to lose a little bit of money on the front end, but I've now built up, you know, a new list that I can then promote to. I still find that valuable because in the long run, I'm getting a return on investment from that. Sponsorships are very much the same way. I might have to pay to get a booth at an event, and maybe all I'm going to be getting is leads and like business cards, but then on the back end, I can take those leads and I can take those business cards and I can turn them into sales conversations and I can make money off of it. It'll turn into a return over time. So I'm willing to invest in those forms of traffic, and that's why I've gotten to where I am today. So local sponsorships, you can do a lot of different things. Sometimes there's events that like clubs and other businesses will host and you can become a sponsor of it. Country clubs will often do events where they allow sponsors. Sometimes there's local events and trade shows that local businesses can sponsor. In the virtual, national, international business, usually what I'm looking for to sponsor is conferences. When I want to go to a live event, I want to both speak and sponsor. I'll rarely attend something and just be an attendee. I've done that at Funnel Hacking Live, and that's basically about it. Pretty much every other event I go to, I want to be a speaker and a sponsor. And then finally, the last form, PiggyBack Traffic, that people don't even realize is PiggyBack Traffic is awards. There's a ton of different bodies or outlets or whatever, that businesses that offer awards. Locally, there's like your local Chamber of Commerce, your local, there are local magazines, local business journals that offer awards. Like I was awarded the Tampa Bay Business Journal's Under 30 Up-and-Comer Award. And that got me exposure to all of the other businesses in the local Tampa Bay area. But it also served as a form of authority for me to be able to go in the sales conversation and in my marketing material and say, hey, I was awarded the top 30 Up-and-Comer Award by the Tampa Bay Business Journal. But there's also virtual bodies that will do this as well. Apex is one place where you can go where they offer a ton of different types of awards. Stevie Awards. I've got a whole list of them. I can't remember them off the top of my head. Those are only ones I can think of off the top of my head without looking inside of our system. And so you can go and you can apply for those awards, and then they'll typically do it kind of varies. Some places, they will promote you to their list or to their readers. And so, you know, you get this award, and because you got that award, they're going to promote you. Some will even host events. So all of the winners will come to an event and actually get their awards. And so again, that ties in events, speaking, sponsorship. So you're able to go and and the Tampa Bay Business Journal was the same way. I got to go and meet in person a ton of other very qualified local businesses. I know they're qualified because they all won that award, right? Sometimes they won't do any promotion at all. You know, like I think Apex is kind of like that. Like they'll put you up on their website. I don't think that they do an event, and I don't think that they do promotion. But you can then use that in your marketing material, so it becomes more of like a conversion strategy than necessarily traffic. But there are some awards that can serve as a traffic source, where if you win the award, you also win some sort of promotion or a ticket to some sort of event where you then get exposure to the other people who have won awards. So this is just kind of a bird's eye view of all of the different types of piggyback traffic that are available to you, at least that I could think of in advance. If you guys have any other ideas for ways that you can tap into other people's audiences, other people's lists, readers, viewers, whatever, definitely share those ideas with us in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you guys. All right, let me see what else we've got here in the comment section. So Joy says, collaboration is more effective marketing, and the cost of a bonus to give someone else is probably less expensive than paid for ads. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm a huge fan of some Facebook ads, right? I definitely believe that that is the #1 traffic source. It is the best for scaling, but like all things, there are pros and cons. And the con with Facebook ads is, yeah, you have to pay for it up front. It is typically cold traffic, so it's slightly harder to convert. And highly technical, very, very nuanced, so it's extremely rare that you're able to do it yourself. And it's rare that you're going to get results like immediately. Typically, you're spending about 2 weeks just gathering data, another 2 to 4 weeks just trying to optimize to break even, and then after that point, you're scaling up. So it definitely takes a patient person who has the cash flow to support the process. If you're not there yet, maybe you don't have the funnel that can support getting results from ads yet, or you don't have the cash flow to support the optimization process that's needed for Facebook ads, or maybe you just don't have the risk tolerance for it yet, PiggyBack Traffic is the next best option. So Joy says, yes, I hear Facebook ads are great too. Yes, they are. But this is a good second option for those who are maybe not at that place just yet. Like I said in yesterday's video, I definitely think these options are above things like social media marketing, like general social media marketing and SEO. Facebook ads, PiggyBack Traffic, social media marketing, SEO. That's kind of like the tier that's the order that I would put them in. Okay, do you guys have any last questions before we end this here? Georgina, Joy, LaFay, anyone else who's on here, if you guys have any questions, now would be the time to get those in. Oh, and while I'm waiting for this to come in, tomorrow at 2 p.m. Pacific, we have another live stream that we're doing tomorrow. And I can't remember what I'm talking about. Let me look. Oh, you know what? I know what we're talking about. We're talking about good publicity versus bad publicity and how to decide what opportunities are going to position you properly versus position you in a way that could actually damage your business. So that's what we're going to be talking about tomorrow. LaFay says, no questions, thanks. Joy said, love the idea of doing PiggyBack ads combined with Facebook ads for bigger impact. Definitely, absolutely, Joy. All right, cool. Well, it looks like we don't have any last questions. So thank you guys for joining. I hope you learned a lot, and I will catch you guys tomorrow for the next video in the series tomorrow, 2 p.m. Pacific. I will see you guys then. All right. Bye, guys.